it would also just like, you would be the person who's like, no, he's fine. I'm in control of this. As he's just like opening up your fridge and eating steaks. And you're like, hey, those are mine. And he's like, grrr. That's it.
Yeah, yours. That's
cool.
Asshole.
That's all right,
Did you steal my credit card to buy steaks again? I didn't buy those steaks.
You just see him in
You
line.
don't have a job.
He's in line at Heinen's just pulling stuff off with his tentacles. Pushing the cart.
One can of Pringles. One!
Oh man, his tentacles are too big to fit in the Pringle can.
Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons and Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornigal.
And I'm Will Milton.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week we're looking at the Monk Wizard Multiclass, and then later on the Displacer Beast from the Monster Manual. So pull up a chair and stick around. I still can't hear the music in my head. I think there's something wrong with me. This is episode 19. I edit every single one of them using the exact same sample, the exact same song.
But all you can hear is Magical Trevor.
Yes.
Wait, we have music in our podcast?
Oh man. So this week's class is the Monk Wizard. Monks, martial characters, wizards, full spellcasters, the spellcaster, the iconic spellcaster of D&D. So right away we've got two very polar subjects. What are your guys' thoughts? Will?
From a flavor standpoint, these are probably the two most dedicated classes in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing quite like them in the rest of the handbook that's like, oh, I just devote my life to this idea or this study or whatever. They are mechanically polar opposites, but flavor-wise, I think they have very, very similar themes.
Kevin?
From an RP perspective, I think it should be easy enough to pull it off. They don't really contradict each other, and as Will just said, they're two dedicated classes. They require a lot of dedication. So you have an individual who's willing to dedicate to something, so they could dedicate to the teachings of monks, monkhood, whatever, and
Monkology.
then to the arcane arts with being a wizard.
Right.
Mechanically, I think there's a lot of traps. I think it's going to be tough. There's ways to do it, but I think you're kind of really narrowed down on what would be viable mechanically.
Right. And I mean, right off the bat, even you've got three stats that you need to have at 13. Yeah. So that's int, dex, and wisdom.
Which is terrible.
No, yeah, it's not a good crossover at all. But the number one thing that I'm thinking of is just how cool it is. Because the idea of a monk just jumping into the middle of battle and shooting out spells just sounds super badass. I'm just imagining a muscle wizard.
First off, no.
Doesn't matter. I already
Right, the muscle wizard's great, but I will say, you know how cool it would be if a monk could just jump into the battle and start shooting out spells, is how we got in the way of the four elements, which is arguably the worst subclass in the game.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But they also suck because their spellcasting is garbage, and wizards have the best spellcasting.
So yeah, this is this is you making up for wizard's failure. It's like, I want a spellcasting monk.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a spellcasting monk. Not that.
Right.
So
yeah.
you can make your own.
That's the
or
best
can
part.
You?
The only issue is that a lot of the monk subclasses really do specify what the dedication is to. And so it kind of makes it difficult. Like, I don't see a shadow monk crossing over with any of the wizard stuff, because those are very, like, dedicated
Illusion
kind
work.
Of, which, like the
illusion subclass, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I guess
It's just dealing with subterfuge and sneaking around and infiltration and illusion magic.
Yeah, I guess
Could
that's one of the
definitely help
nice
with
things about wizards, is just the fact that they have, I don't even know how many subclasses off the top of my head, but for every school of magic plus war magic. So they've got...
And blade singing.
Right, which is in which book again? DMG?
Skag. Sword Coast
Skag.
Adventure Guide, and we don't use it too much.
No, we
there's
don't.
11.
11 subclasses. Yeah, that's a lot.
Too many.
Yeah, and not counting UAs.
Right. Well, I mean, the wizard subclasses are always...
Actually, no, 10 Not counting UAs. I'm sorry. I have it up in D&D Beyond. They just kind of put the UAs in with it.
Right.
The School of Invention.
I don't
It's
remember that
kind of a
one.
weird UA. Since we don't do UAs here, I just skipped it, but
Right.
kind of a...
Were they just like trying to make a artificer almost?
Sorta, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I remember reading it when it came out, and then obviously none of us has ever played it, and then reading back through everything and just skipped it, so I don't know much on it. I remember thinking it was kind of neat, but
Yeah.
a little over the top.
UAs,
Yeah.
they're cool.
Yeah. So mechanically, I think the best play is to mainly focus on monk with a dip into wizard.
Right.
They could get a lot. They stand if you do 2 levels into wizard, they really stand to get a lot. They get, I think, 8 first level spells known because they start out with 6 known and then they
Right.
level up to 2, and that's an additional 2 plus 3 cantrips.
Right.
So that's a lot of versatility. And like a monk with shield and absorb elements is fantastic.
Yeah.
Then pick utility spells and stuff like that. And then some cantrips like Firebolt or I think wizards you could even get Toll the Dead, and just so you have some ranged magical options.
So the cantrips, one thing to note, they will not scale with your total.
That's true. That will always stay low. So maybe go utility cantrips.
Yeah.
But
Why do cantrips not? I thought they just scaled with your level in total.
oh, you're right. Yeah, it is character
Is
level.
it?
Is it? It's not spellcaster level. It's character level.
Today we reveal that Will is a big dummy, but he says things so confidently. I initially agree, and then I feel dummy
I
myself.
really hate that ruling. I always hated that ruling.
I mean, it just makes it so that they don't just get completely left behind.
Yeah, especially if you multi-class, like 2 spellcasters, there's a sorcerer and a bard. They're both charisma casters. Kind of makes it would be kind of crappy if their cantrips were always
Crappy.
yeah.
Yep.
And then especially where they have like Firebolt, pretty sure matches up between the. I'm sure there are cantrips between like the 2 that would match up, and that's all right. What class took that cantrip? What level is the cantrip? And just it's clear to do it on character level.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with the 2-level dip, they would get all those spells, which is really great, and then arcane recovery. So essentially, they would get 4 spell slots because they get arcane recovery, where on a short rest they could restore half of their wizard level and spells, so an additional first level spot. And then their first arcane tradition. So the first ability of whatever subclass they pick, and there's a lot of good ones,
Yeah.
especially like divination. Like you get portent at level 2.
It is, but I think divination, to me, it just feels like completely against the monk idea. It just doesn't fit at
Planning for the future.
all. Not planning for the future, seeing into the future.
Yeah, the
It's-
plan. I could see
don't
it fitting. Like if
I
you play
don't.
it like they're very contemplative. Their meditative state gives them glimpses into the future to be able to plan and act accordingly. They have such wisdom that it.
But it's not from wisdom. That's the entire point of it being through
From
the wizard.
intelligence, technically.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
shut up.
but it is. It's saying that they derive their powers through study. It's not from being so spiritually connected to the world. I don't know. It feels
I
weird.
guess like raw as written in the player handbook and everything, sure, but to just say it's because their meditative state is they're so wise in their meditative state they get a glimpse into the future, like that's not breaking anything. It's not a mechanical thing. It's just a role play refluff.
Well, it will be tough because wisdom is not going to be able to be that high. I don't
No.
see it getting that high to start
Yeah.
because we need dex as a main stat for the monk. And then we need intelligence as the spellcasting modifier. Though, as you were saying, the intelligence kind of being the, not the dump stat maybe, but just less important because we're trying to keep it from being any spells that rely on that spellcasting modifier.
Yeah, try and take utility
Utilities.
spells that just happen.
Right.
Not like shield and absorb elements, fog cloud, and then
Right.
like then you can do like detect magic for utility.
Yeah.
I think Featherfall's a first level spell.
That's all good.
Stuff
I
like
feel
that.
like Featherfall would be a waste for a monk.
Oh, you're right. It would. Yeah,
Totally is.
True.
Unless
'Cause
you're using
they
it
have
on,
that ability to lower their fall damage.
unless you're using it on somebody else.
And just to back up real quick, Portent, just because I know we try and do a quick description of the abilities, we didn't with that one. Portent, and why I love it so much is it's a second level wizard ability you get if you go
Divination.
divination, thank you, where when you, after a long rest, you roll 2d20 and set them aside. And then at any point throughout the day, the adventure day, you could just choose to swap out a roll with one of those, yours, an allies, or an enemy. So you need an enemy to really fail that hold person save, and you had a 1 roll, give it to them. You need the paladin to really give a crit, and you had a 20 roll, give it to them, and they just automatically get it.
Roll a 10. Oops. That's it.
Yeah, the middle of the road's a
12.
little, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
That could still be useful though.
No.
Like if you know someone has it's still a really clutch moment, and
Yes.
they have a high skill bonus to something, and you know a 10 is going to bump them up to 20.
You
know,
need them
yeah.
to hit. You know that the AC is 15. They have a +7. Okay, cool.
Yeah, take
There
the
you go.
10.
You
Yeah,
hit.
we'll guarantee it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's really no bad amount. Just knowing what the roll is, you can
Yeah.
determine it. But I'm still. I don't love the idea of a divination monk. It
What?
just feels gross.
Just feels gross. I think it actually works perfectly with Kevin's flavor thing. Is
just
That
completely
attunement-
ignoring the raw.
that attunement with the universe where you're so in tune, you understand what's going to happen,
Right.
what did happen, and what's happening now.
Yeah, I mean,
When you phrase it like that way, it seems really important. But those last two, almost everybody can do that.
that's fair. So yeah, divination is fine, and divination is just a fantastic wizard subclass because of Portent. I love it. The other one that I was kind of thinking, and there's really no big reason for it, is just abjuration. I know you guys scoff immediately. Abjuration sucks, but I just looking through the wizard.
No, it
subclasses,
doesn't suck.
It's good, but
I know. You just always seem to go back to it.
I know, of course.
Yeah.
It's mostly just because it just makes you a little bit more tanky in this case. Not tanky. You can just take
Yeah.
more damage.
Yeah.
And that's really it. There's I just necromancy doesn't make any sense for this. Transmutation, I don't really see that layering over it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said illusion maybe with the shadow monk. Yeah,
Right.
okay,
But
I can see
mean,
it.
then mechanically illusions, you're not getting a whole bunch of really
That one's
Great
pretty weak
stuff.
out of the gate.
later on when you could like illusory reality where you can make an illusion real for a certain amount of time. That's a fantastic ability, but it's not to level 14. So when we're talking multi-class, it's like it's in actual play, it's probably not going to come up much.
I haven't looked at the School of Illusion level 2 skill in a while, and that's awful. It's a really, really awful one. It's great role-playing wise. It's you learn the minor illusion cantrip, great. And when you cast it, you can make a sound and an image with a single casting of the spell. There's
Yeah,
tons of
it's-
uses for it. I understand that, but like compared to something like evocations, which I know is just universally a good one, but that's so limited.
Yeah.
I don't think I.
It depends the campaign you're playing.
Does
It's-
it? Does it actually?
if you're not doing a heavy combat campaign, more like an espionage, a political campaign.
How many?
I don't know,
I
but-
agree, but like, how many people play campaigns like that?
I don't know.
Let's like zoom
what I've
back and
gathered, I'll
pretend
say
we have this
about
like
0.
huge political campaign where it's critical we have an illusion that can make sound and also
No, you're right. A political campaign, no. More like an espionage type.
No, the only thing I can think of
underhanded,
is
sneaky
if
crap.
you're like some kind
Just
of
get
a
creative with it.
traveling theater troupe and you really need that sound and image going.
There we go. Yeah, that could be a campaign.
That's like your one trick pony. It's
Yeah.
like one trick pony wizard.
Well, and then older spells and really what makes a wizard a wizard.
But still, that level 2 ability is such crap.
No, it's not that great. I would just put in an argument out there for it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, none of the School of Illusion is useful in combat. I mean, I haven't gotten to 10 yet, but 6, you just can change the illusion after if the duration of the spell is longer than a minute. So you can change your illusion a little bit. You're telling me I took 6 levels in this just so I can change my illusion without casting it again?
Yeah,
that's it?
Again, it
all
just
of it builds up to this character that is just devoted towards one very, very, very useless thing.
It just
again, it just depends on the campaign. I'll read stuff online of people getting in the way of crazy stuff with illusions. I think we're always a little more strict about it for whatever reason, just kind of how we are, where we sort of take this reasonable, where the NPCs and the enemies kind of have like a disbelief in things. And so they don't necessarily just full-blown, wholeheartedly go into these illusions, where sometimes you'll have DMs where they will. They groups that think it's great for everyone to get tricked by these illusions all the time, and they just kind of go with it.
But there's rules in place for that, where like they have to
Sometimes.
roll. Most of the time, though, it's like just a perception check against their spellcasting.
Yeah,
ability.
or a lot of times it's they could take an action to make an intelligence check to determine if it's an illusion, we will have our NPCs and enemies take that action. Others won't. It just...
Yeah, I guess if a giant purple worm just like showed up 50 feet from me, I'd be like, hey, I don't really think that's possible.
That's like
and then others will say the magic of the spell clouds their mind to not think that, and they just go with it. It's
also
kind
a
of
really
ambiguous.
bad play. You know, like evolutionary speaking, like that's how you die in a comedic horror movie. It's like there's obviously not a purple worm guy patting it. Oh, but I think we have actually had pretty bad experiences in the past. Just like minor illusion it should not be a big bad evil guy killer.
No,
But
especially
if your DM lets it be, it can be.
actually as written minor illusion. I think people are more lenient with it. It's an object that fits in a 5-foot cube. It's static. You cannot change it. It cannot make sounds, or it could just be a sound. One or the other. Any interaction with it immediately makes it kind of fade so they could see through it. So that's not going to be a big bad evil guy killer. That's why I know when we first, like way back in like 3.5, when we played with Dave and all them, it was I had a wizard that had minor illusion and we abused the hell out of it. I don't remember the exact wording back in 3.5, and then we brought it into the playtest pack of D&D Next. But I'm sure it was similar to what it is now. And so I would be doing stuff like scaring off bandits by minor illusioning, like a red dragon coming down and just a bunch of crazy shit like that. And that worked great, but we weren't playing it.
Yeah,
right?
my favorite is a minor illusion of bucket over the guy's head. It's like, no, stop. No, you can't do that.
I did that with a smoke cloud once.
Oh,
Again, back in 3.5, yeah.
so yeah, I think we did get kind of burned when we became rule mongers about the entire idea of illusions.
I'm sorry, us rule mongers.
Us rule mongers.
And then when we moved from that group and started playing with, I brought Jared in. There was other people. We had a completely another DM at the time who we don't play with. He was really strict on illusions. He clearly did not want to be seen as someone getting the better of him, and the illusions always failed no matter what. And I think that just kind of tainted our view on them, to be honest. Like thinking back on it.
There's got to be a middle ground somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've had people try and use things like minor illusion for stuff that I know in like more lenient campaigns people would be fine with, but it's stuff that I'm just like, well, that's just not how the rules work. Like I had my group try and do we're gonna minor illusion 10 gold and give it to them, and then later they'll find out it's not real, and I'm like, nope, doesn't work. Second that it's touched, gone.
But can't actually transmutation wizards do that?
Transmutation wizards? They can do minor alchemy. Yeah, they can kind of do that. I don't know if they can. Let's see.
Yeah, well, then the 14th level illusion wizard, they can weave in magic, blah blah blah. When you cast an illusion spell first level or higher, so you can't do it on minor illusion, which is a cantrip, you can choose one inanimate, non-magical object that is part of the illusion and make the object real. You can do it on your turn as a bonus action. It remains real for 1 minute.
Transmutation can explicitly turn one thing into another thing.
Okay,
so you can take a
permanently?
bunch of for 10 minutes. So you can make a bunch of wooden nickels into gold and then pay somebody.
That's fine.
But that's a very short-lived strategy for getting through something. You know?
Definitely. And what level is that? Is that the level
That's
2 one?
That's level 2.
But that's
minor
fine.
alchemy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's like its thing. I would totally allow that. Minor illusion is a cantrip. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Minor illusion, a static pile of 10 gold. Here's your gold. No, don't touch it.
We're just going to leave it on the table and walk away. And then once we close the door, the deal's done. Hope this doesn't have any ramifications.
As an experienced businessman, this seems pretty legit.
Can it even do a pile of gold, or does it have to be a single cohesive object? Can you mine an illusion 1 gold, not a pile? I don't know.
I think I'd let the pile of gold.
It's
fly.
minor illusion.
Image of an object within range.
Because then you're just getting like, I try and minor illusion a bowl of rice. Each grain is one thing.
Rice. You have
it says an image of an object. So the object is a pile of gold.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's just getting a little too strict.
Yeah. All right.
Man, we've completely got off Monk Wizard though.
I know. Yeah. That's what we do.
It is what we do.
Facilitate conversations with multi-class discussion.
Yes. So one of the first things that I kind of thought was a big problem is a whole benefit to being a monk is the unarmored defense. which for that it's 10 plus your dexterity plus your wisdom modifier creates your AC. Well, with the wizard and needing int, it's going to be a lot harder to get wisdom up. We talked about, okay, intelligence becomes the dump stat. Now we have wisdom. That's like the only way that we're going to get AC any higher. Otherwise, you're going to have to do
16. If you meet the minimum requirements for
right.
the class, 13 dex, 13 wisdom, 13 int, you're going to have 16 AC, which is
no. That would be 12. The minimums where you're at talking, that's a plus one modifier.
You're right.
Wait, 13's plus 1?
That would
It's
be
plus 2.
That is plus 2. Sorry. Okay. So you'd have 14, which isn't that great for a monk. For a monk, you definitely want a little bit higher. So we're talking about, you've got 16, which gives you a ability score modifier of plus 3. And then maybe you can get wisdom to 16 as well. Great. Now you've got 16, and it's just, I don't know. It's just not great. You're making a lot of sacrifices all around. And that's just right out the gate. One that you're going to have to make is, are you going to have a good AC so that you can actually do your monk stuff correctly and just have crappy spellcasting ability modifier for a while or forever? And I mean, with that, sure, you can just do utility spells. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Wizards get tons and tons of utility spells.
Wizards
they get all spells.
everything.
They get so many spells. So you're really not gimping yourself too much. It just depends on what type of wizard you want to be. If you want to be an evocation wizard, you're probably going to have a super low AC.
Yeah.
So that way you can do your evocation stuff.
Also, we're all dumb. We should really know this at this point, so this was kind of an embarrassing mistake. 13 is plus 1.
Is it really?
Yeah. 10 to 11 is 0, 12 to 13 is 1, 14 to 15 is 2.
You guys
we
are
know
killing
this.
me. You guys are
know.
killing me.
So much to keep in our heads.
I was just gaslighting Garrett.
My name's Garrett now? What do you mean? Your name's always been Garrett.
Yeah. G as in Garrett.
Yeah.
Right. An obvious, I think, subclass choice is blade singing. So,
Wait, why is that obvious, Kevin?
okay, because it makes the wizard focus on more melee being up in the middle of the fight. So, a monk with a dip into blade singing would still be pretty good. So, 2-level dip. You're still going to get your 6 or 8, whatever it is, first level spells, the 3 spell slots plus the recovery, your cantrips. And then you get Blade Song, which you get at level 2. So as a bonus action, you start your Blade Song. You just can't have medium or heavy armor or use a shield, and you can't use a 2-handed weapon, which is generally going to be fine for a monk. And then when it's up, you gain a bonus to your AC equal to your intelligence modifier. Your walking speed increases by 10 feet. You have advantage on acrobatics checks, and you gain a bonus to your con saving throws to maintain your concentration.
This really feels like it has a lot of crossover with the War Magic subclass from Xanathars, doesn't it?
No?
No?
How so?
I didn't they have something with the 10 feet of movement?
So I
additional
know,
10 feet of movement?
yeah, Warcaster second level, you get Arcane Deflection, which is kind of like a poor man's shield.
Oh, yeah.
You can use your reaction to gain a +2 bonus
to
to
AC.
AC or +4 to a saving throw. But then you can only use cantrips until your next turn. You can't cast a spell.
Well, that can be pretty good with a monk because you're probably not going to be casting
Yeah,
a spell
yeah,
every
that was
time.
another one on my list
Yeah,
for war.
sorry, yeah. To
Yeah.
completely switch it.
Tactical Wit is then also the second level. So they get two second level abilities. Tactical Wit being the second one, you gain your intelligence modifier to your initiative. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but then later on, you get Power Surge where you could
You get some power surges that you can store maximum up to your intelligence modifier. And you can use the power surge when you deal damage to a creature or object with a wizard spell. You can spend it to deal extra force damage to the target equal to half your wizard level.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good, but the only way to
so
regain
low.
them is with counterspell and dispel magic.
Yeah, and then the damage is so low. I really
Right.
don't like it.
Right. It's
Half your wizard level?
it's 3 damage.
Yeah, when you
Cool.
get it, 3 damage for using third level slots.
It's really mediocre.
Yeah, so the first two, good. Everything else, I don't know. Durable magic, where your Oh yeah, where you concentrate on a spell, you have +2 bonus to AC and saving throws. I guess that's fine. That's good. I mean,
Especially in combination with the arcane deflection, you get your AC really high.
Yeah.
You might need shield if you need it. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not blown away. But at the end of the day, all of the wizard subclasses never really blow me away. None of them are like, oh wow, that's like a must pick, just because the wizard itself is so good. You don't
Right.
need all of the other stuff. It's nice. It's always nice, but it's not the main selling point. The fact that you just get tons and tons of spells is why you're going with the wizard. That's the important
yeah,
part.
exactly. What you do with the spells is really what makes it. Then the subclass just kind of sculpts it a little bit. Also, then gives you sort of a direction flavor-wise, RP-wise, how to go about it. Like an evocation wizard versus a necromancer are gonna probably act pretty different.
Right. Well, those two are both unhinged, in my opinion. But
The other thing is your subclass outside of the new ones. It was always kind of the idea was I want to be slightly better at casting this type of spell.
Right.
I want that to be cheaper. But yeah, the subclasses are always going to take a backseat to the core principles of the wizard. But yeah, the Blade Singer, probably the only one that really breaks the mold on that. I don't know, not doing much for me.
yeah, I think you're probably better off going with a. It's once again, like you've said before, where these subclasses are for people who would go, well, I want to play a wizard and a fighter multi-class. Well, let's just give them a subclass that kind of does this, and trying to multi-class with one of those just feels awkward a lot of times. It's not bad by any means. It's just kind of strange.
Double dipping, kind of.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You also have to be an elf.
You don't.
Is that a
So
suggestion?
in this, within the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, it says that this is tradition an elf only thing, and then it says the DM could choose to lift that if it better fits your campaign.
Which is kind of a strange thing to put in the rule book because the DM can actually do whatever they want.
Right.
Right. I think it makes sense that they call that out, though.
After every paragraph, just like, unless the DM doesn't like it, in which case, have at it. I don't care. I'm not a rule book.
It makes a lot of sense they did it for this because it's not a mechanic thing; it's a flavor thing, and it's the Sword Coast Adventure Guide was written in the context of yes, D&D you can make your own world and all that, but if you want to play in one of our pre-written worlds, here's all this sort of detail about it. Here's this whole fighting style thing called the Blade Singer, and it's generally an elf tradition in our world, and here's all the history and the lore. But if you're just kind of grabbing the subclass to use for something else and you're the DM, sure, lift the restriction.
I really
I
do.
think it makes sense to clear that up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really do wonder, though, if have either of you read through the Sword Coast Adventure Guide?
Not in detail. I have not
I've
sat
used
down
it,
and read it
yeah,
cover to cover.
I've used it for reference, but I've never read through all of it. We have run every single one of our campaigns on the Sword
There's
Coast.
not much in there. It really
I
is
don't
not
believe
one
it.
of- no, it's... I don't
There
know.
has to be
It's-
something. I know it was one of the earlier books, one of the earlier expansion
How many?
lore
It's
books.
only a few. It's like 80 pages, 90
Yeah, it's not
pages.
super
It's
long.
short.
Which is exactly why we should read it. It's just I noticed that, and this is no offense to you, Kevin. The other day we were playing like in a city, and we're like running through things, and you're like, I don't really know what these cities have, and like I totally understand that because every time we've run one of these campaigns, I'm like, what are these cities actually like? There's so much lore that's just right in our faces, and we're like, we'll get to that later. We got rules to memorize.
with that, so I know you're not like calling me out, so to speak,
Not
but
at all.
in my defense, regardless, it's because it was a one session thing.
Yes.
We were
Yep.
spending one session in Baldur's Gate and moving on. It's like I'm not gonna read through a book.
Totally understandable.
yeah.
But when like I've run again 2 campaigns now on the Sword Coast, more or less. Like by now, I feel like I should know a lot more about it beyond
Right.
just we're going to a city, so I look up the lore for that specific city, and then okay, I know a little bit. I know there's a giant tree in the middle. Cool.
Yeah.
Are there lawyers in this city? I didn't read that, man. Sure. Actually, in the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, technically, the practice of law is left... Shut up, man. I actually remember the Sword Coast Adventure Guide. More than half of it is dedicated to, like, groups of people, the Lord's Alliance and stuff like
The
that.
Zentarum and
Yes.
yeah.
So I read it a long time ago, and a lot of it really does not come up unless you really need to flavor these particular groups.
I say that it comes up a good amount, and you can do a much better job as a DM if you're playing the pre-written campaigns. In your homebrew ones, yeah, you're right. It's probably not going to come up that much. But like right now, I'm running Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and Zentarm and the Xanathar's guilds or not guilds, gangs are super apparent. I don't really know that much about them. To me, they're just Gang 1 and Gang 2. But I'm sure there's entire stories on why they're different and how they operate differently, how they think differently. And
they played a big role in Lost Mines, and they in the sequel campaign. A lot of people don't know this. Princes of the Apocalypse was actually kind of a sequel campaign. Because it takes place in a similar area and with similar intrigue.
Okay,
but with the big bad evil guys coming out, that had a lot of these guys are the Lords of Lions, these guys are the Zentarum, stuff like that.
Yeah. Not to spoil too much for you guys, but in Out of the Abyss, it's going to come up too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
coming up here.
So now you know exactly where to get some info on them if you want.
Also, the Out of the Abyss book does a good job. Good diving into, at least to know enough for the campaign. But
right.
Yeah, you're right. We're especially because now we're on the surface taking a break from the official campaign, doing Sword Coast stuff.
Right.
I should probably dive into it a bit more.
Right.
Or just say fuck it and make it up.
And that's totally fine too. There's zero issues with that. I personally, like, when running stuff, always feel good when I can be like, I'm actually doing this correctly because like I took the time to look it up. But that's, I'm proud of that.
See, I kind of more like looking at the map and all right, you're going here and it's called this and this is what's around it. So it's blank.
Yep.
It's
like, oh, that's an agricultural place. So, it's and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd say there's nothing wrong with that.
Except for I'm sure you could poke a lot of plot holes into things if you really start sitting down.
Yes.
It's like, all right, so you said that was an agricultural place, but the mountain over here would create a rain shadow. And so we wouldn't really get much direct sunlight.
There's no roads here. Yeah. How are they shipping out? You're telling me that they're just have an abundance of food that's just rotting every single year? Really? Did you think that one through?
It doesn't rot because the rain shadow doesn't allow anything to grow.
Or does a rain shadow mean a shadow from rain as it doesn't rain?
No, a rain shadow is when the mountain creates a desert.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay, so it's too much. I said it rained too much and there's no sun. It's the opposite. It's too much sun and no rain.
Yeah.
Not that it matters for this.
It doesn't, no. But I do now wonder what the weather patterns are like in Faerun. Are they west to east? Like what's how does this work? I'm serious.
Obviously they're west to east.
Why is that?
Yeah, where does the sun rise?
Is there a sun?
There's are there 3 suns? I don't know. That happens in fantasy worlds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found out the last
plot twist. It's never been daytime in Faerun.
I didn't find out until 3 months ago that they go off of a 10-day, not 7-day weeks.
Oh, the calendar's such a waste of time.
It's not. It's so simple. It's literally just 10-day, 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 10-day. It sounds like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. But that's it. And it's like 30 days in a month, 3 months in a season. It's really simple.
That's stupid. They should have random amounts of days every month.
That changes every year.
Yeah, every year.
The lords of all these factions get together and roll some dice, and that's the new calendar.
Yeah, all right. Everybody learn this. If you get it wrong, you're going to be put to death. Sorry.
Leap years are kind of cool, but I would prefer if February had a different amount of days every year. February is 93 days this year, guys. Oh, crap. I only have to pay my rent once. Woo! Shit, I only get paid twice.
I don't think we've talked much about any monk subclasses that are particularly cool.
Any of them would work. It doesn't.
Besides Way of the Four Elements, because double dipping and it's dumb.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. I would say that one. Doesn't really work.
Kensai monk
no,
it does. Really. It's not that it works poorly. It's, as you say, like it works, but I just feel like, again, Kensai monk is like,
if you want to be a Kensai monk that can cast a handful of spells, sure, it works.
Yes. Why would you want to do that? I hate it. Way of the Open Hand, just because Way of the Open Hand is great. That's it. Shadow monk, we said, in the right circumstances.
I would say Kensai monk is not any worse than any of the other ones. Pretty much all of them are focused around martial prowess and all that. This one, it's just specifically on weapons instead of unarmed attacks or shadowy sneak attacks or whatever.
I think if a player came to me with a Kensai wizard multi-class, I'd just call them greedy. And that's basically it.
See, I would take it as the same flavor as Eldritch Knight.
But monk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still calling them greedy. I'll let him do it.
Why greedy?
Because it's just...
nothing about it sounds broken to me.
No, not broken at all. It's just flavor-wise, you're just pulling from too many things. You just need to just calm down a little bit.
I want to be a monk. Okay. Who uses weapons?
Sure.
Monk weapons? No, all weapons. All right. I guess you can be a And I also want spells. It's like, oh, okay. You really, yeah. Okay. I get it.
Like, it's fine, but you just got a lot going
You're not
on.
willing to sacrifice various elements of other classes. Like, I want to be able to cast spells and use all weapons. Well, you probably should not have chosen a monk, but you do you, bud.
Drunken Master might be hard to justify.
That one
I
is
would-
flavor-wise probably a little bit harder to justify than the rest.
Yeah. If you take it quite literally and they're drunk all the time and that kind of looseness from it is what, they lean into it quite literally to, for that combat prowess.
I think
I there's no rules. I don't think there's any rules saying you can't cast spells while inebriated, but
No.
I just roleplay wise, it's find that hard to pull off.
So roleplay wise, it actually doesn't besides the fact that you get proficiency in brewer's kits, it actually doesn't really talk about you being drunk in any manner. It's just your fighting style. It is a fighting style to be a drunken master. You fight like you're drunk. You don't have to be a drunk. You could be a drunken master who abstains from alcohol or any liquor.
know, yeah.
You're not wrong. And a lot of times people are going to see drunken master. Cool, he's a drunk monk, and that's fun. That's fine. It's not a big deal. But it's also not necessary by any means.
Their flavor, though, is that they are kind of goofballs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're kind of opportunist. They take advantage of things when they come up. They move erratically, and
You're right. That
and like
definitely
that, I
goes
struggle to
against
line
Wizard.
it up with the studious individual who spends their free time studying magic, memorizing spells, and the very precise incantations and hand gestures to cast them.
I will 100. Oh man, drunken hand signs. But that I will 100% agree with. That is fine. Just mainly on the casting spells while drunk. I don't know. That feels weird. That I not worried about that. But no, that makes a lot of sense. They are erratic in behavior, and I think that goes totally against how a wizard should be. And that's why I like the rest of the monks, is because, as Will said in the opening there, like they're all just, these are both classes that take lifelong dedication, and the idea of being dedicated to the 3 pillars of mind, body, and spirit, that's a monk, just right out the gate. And now you're adding in the fact that they study the arcane arts. Perfect. I think, honestly, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Mechanically speaking, though, I don't think we found a single thing that really meshes well. Just some areas where they don't step on each other.
No, you're going to
Yeah.
be a full-time monk with support spells.
Yeah,
Yep, that's what I was saying.
This
at
is
the
one of those
beginning.
things. We're being lazy pieces of shit a little bit, but there are probably spells that would make a lot of sense for a monk to have, even at low levels.
Well, yeah, I mean, it said shield. At higher levels, haste. Things like that, where you're extremely good at buffing yourself or others. Those are all great. Any concentration spell is going to be fine. Not any that's such a broad thing to say. Sorry. Just any
Literally
support spell.
any
Yeah.
concentration spell.
Opens
Just
up
having
the spell book.
concentration. That's all that matters.
That's 75% of them. No, but just any spell that is not specifically focused on doing damage, like battlefield control spells are going to be good. It's fine. You just get a lot.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
a crazy amount that you can do with just the wizard spell book.
Oh, for sure.
When did they get second level spells? Is that like 4?
I think
It's pretty early on. I think it's 3rd level. Yeah,
Third-
3rd
third
level they
sounds
get
right.
2nd. 5th
Yeah.
level they get 3rd.
yeah.
So it's pretty early.
Yeah, but then I think if you go too far into wizard, then you're really just kind of watering down both.
Yes.
I would be hard pressed to go beyond level 2, meaning you're stuck at first level spells. But still, there's plenty there. Charm Person, Detect Magic, Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, Find Familiar, always could be useful, Fog Cloud, Grease.
Part of me wants to argue that just for haste, it's worth going to 5th level.
Just
was that?
no,
No,
have someone
first
else
off,
just
no.
haste you.
No.
Also, no,
All
the
haste.
monk does not get that much out of haste.
Yeah, they get 1 extra
Yeah, they
unarmed
really
attack. I
don't.
mean,
You're
they
right,
already
you're
attack
right.
a bunch. Individual attacks aren't strong.
Oh, you're right.
In terms of cantrips, what are you guys' thoughts on Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade? The 2 kind of melee focused cantrips for wizards.
It just needs a weapon attack, right?
Yeah, they could do it.
So
So-
seems pretty good. You get some locking down enemies, which is nice.
Yeah, or Green Flame Blade, kind of an AoE melee attack in a sense. But
Can you use your flurry of blows?
because
cantrip.
you cast a cantrip, and as part of the cantrip, you make a weapon attack. Flurry of blows and like the open hand techniques. It says after you make the attack action.
Perfect. Okay, that's
So
clear.
yeah,
Yeah.
That seems like it's gonna. It's not gonna scale very well.
Yeah,
But it does give you, well, okay. I was going to say it gives you an opportunity to, like, you know, run away or whatever. But, I mean, you can just disengage for a key if you really want that. You got Step of the Wind if you need to move around the battlefield. Green Flame Blade, what does that do again? I know Booming Blade is, if they move, they take extra
pulling them
damage.
now. So it hits other ones around it. Yeah, you make the melee weapon attack against one creature within melee range. On a hit, the target suffers attacks normal damage, and Green Fire leaps from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. But then at 5th level, so class level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 fire damage to the target, and the fire damage to the second creature increases 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
I mean, that one's not bad.
Yeah.
I think with Booming Blade, and we've discussed this ad nauseum of which one is better. Really, neither of them. They're both pretty good, I feel like. But Booming Blade, it's more about locking down the enemy, making sure they stay where they're at, they don't chase you, whatever. Green Flame Blade is kind of more in line with the Monk, in my opinion, just on like damaging multiple people, making more attacks. That's maybe abstract, but that's how I'm viewing it. I think that'd be good. It wouldn't be a bad addition. It's a cantrip, so it's not
Right.
I would take that over taking something like I don't know, Firebolt.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get much out of Firebolt. Sure, you've got a ranged attack now, but
It'd be
you're still
nice
a monk.
to have it, but
Right. But yeah, either of them I think would actually be a good choice. Both of them would not be a good choice.
right.
Beyond that, I mean, any utility cantrips are always going to be good. A mage hand, why not? It's always good to have a mage hand.
Yeah.
Have we ever actually used Mage Hand?
Not anymore, but we've I think discussed this. Where mage hand kind of falls out once it gets abused, the DM kind of puts the hammer down real quick. Where it's like, oh, I pull the lever from 30 feet away. There's an explosion. It's 35 feet. Everyone make a dex check. Stop that shit. When we did bring this up, you said, well, sometimes you have to let them win. Correct. Sometimes you do have to let the players win. Not every time, though.
Yeah, that does get really obnoxious when every single action, everybody in the party backs up as far as they can. It's like a 5-minute conversation. Are we as far back as we can? Yes. All right, we mage hand the door open. It's a tavern. Stop.
All right, Rogue, go check for traps.
It's full of people. You can see them. They might be decoys.
Detect magic.
Any other thoughts on Monk Wizard before we move on?
No, I think we've just about covered it. Beyond getting into spells and what the most optimal one will be. But it's cool. It's a cool class. That's it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of options.
Yeah, do you want to cast spells as a monk? This is probably the best option when you have to look at the way of the 4 elements.
Yeah.
I really,
That's fair.
this is your alternative. You're never going to get high level stuff, but I don't know.
I don't think I would personally ever play this. But I wouldn't be upset with somebody playing it, that's
Right.
for sure.
That's how we judge things now. How much it upsets us that somebody else is having fun.
Kevin, any last thoughts on your end?
No. I think
All
we're
right.
gonna move on to Monster of the Week.
Let's do it.
This week's monster is the king of the cats, the Displacer Beast, a shadowy creature from the Feywild. They lean evil, and their love is essentially limited to killing. They have been mostly tamed, so this is a great companion to your big bad evil guy who might kind of err on the side of a generic villain. If you remember Ozymandias from Watchmen, he basically had a Displacer Beast. It's a great, scary, kind of cute, but he's going to rip your face off mini boss. They not the toughest thing in the world, but they do have enough bite to take out most low-level parties if you're not careful. So what do you guys think about the Displacer Beast?
Well, first off, they're really cool. Love their art. That's
Yeah, very iconic.
Yeah.
I would say we haven't played like the real old editions, but I got the impression these guys have been around for a long time. Everyone just seems to know them.
I knew what a Displacer Beast was before I even played D&D.
Yeah.
I didn't even know why. I think it's just instinct.
Yeah.
Well, we did grow up in Northeast Ohio. There's a lot of Displacer Beasts.
I mean, overall, they're a cool. They can be like a weird random encounter. Just from like they do mention that they just kind of roam around the material plane. They were chased out of the Feywild, so
Right.
a lot of them are just kind of hanging around. One thing that I thought was cool is they're extremely intelligent, though their intelligence modifier doesn't really reflect that. They're still an animal, but 6 for a monster is pretty good, or a beast. But they mentioned that they like will watch caravans,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool. They know when to attack, stuff like that. It gives you a lot of versatility with how you use them. You mentioned having them as a companion to a big bad evil guy. And with that, I mean, you can scale however much you want. He's got a Displacer Beast. He's got 5 Displacer Beasts because, I don't know, fight.
Big bad evil cat lady.
Ooh.
Hags with Displacer Beasts.
And no. Nagpa. Bringing it back right from the start.
The hags got their Displacer Beast from the Nagpa. Obviously.
Yeah.
No, I mean they're interesting. A lot of these low challenge rating monsters are varying amounts of hit points and damage per round. These at least have some mechanics that need to be figured out, which I like a lot. That is the displacement is one of them. The Displacer Beast projects a magical illusion, makes it appear to be standing near its actual location. All attack rolls have disadvantage on it. And when it's hit, it's disrupted for that turn. So that makes it like really important for, I guess, kind of whoever has the high initiative order to make sure they get that first hit. That way it's actually possible to hit it well.
Also, if its speed is 0, that ability goes away.
Right.
So you can kind of, find ways to restrain it, root it,
Yeah.
grapple it. Actually, this would be a really good time for grapple to come into play.
Definitely.
That's the worst advice I've ever heard.
Ooh.
Here's a giant predatory cat. What should you do? Get right up in its face and just hold on, man. It's like, no.
Right. I'm going to say that if you're a lower level party, then that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Because they just hit super hard.
It has 2 tentacle attacks each round with a +6 to hit, and does 1d6 plus 4 bludgeoning and 1d6 piercing. So like if you're level 3, that's rough.
That's a lot. You're going to last 3 rounds, maybe, if you're lucky. I mean, how much health does the average level 3 character have? We're talking in the 20s?
Once you're at level 3, the average is just kind of all over the board.
It's still around there, though. We're talking low of 15, high of 30, if you're lucky.
The muzzle wizard should grapple it.
Yes.
They are very strong, though. That is
Yes.
another thing to keep in mind. They have, and this is another thing. Every physical stat they have is pretty
Great.
high.
Yeah. I mean, 18 strength, 15 dex, 16 con. That's
The AC
Really
comes
good.
in at 13, which is, it seems like crap, but when every hit is a disadvantage,
right.
this actually could make a very frustrating encounter.
Yeah, especially with the avoidance. It's other
Exactly.
ability where it's basically like the rogue's invasion or monk's invasion.
Evasion?
Evasion.
Oh, I thought you were saying invasion.
Oh, evasion. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Where if it has to make a saving throw on a AoE type attack where it would take half damage on a success, it takes no damage on a success.
Right.
And only half if it fails.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got something for everyone.
That's a
the best
little
way to put
badass,
it.
too. It's
Yeah.
like, we can't hit this stupid cat. And the wizard's like, haha, I got this. Burning hands. Just like huge cone of flamethrower hell. And then the DM's like, it's unaffected. What do you mean? It has to take half. It's like, it's unaffected.
Oof. And that is not tied to the displacement, correct?
Correct. It's just always on.
Yeah, so even if its speed is 0, if your speed's 0, you don't automatically fail dex checks, do you? No.
If you're restrained, I think
Yes,
you do.
if you're restrained. That's it. Thank you. So grapple. If you just get in there and just accept that your
Grapple's not restrained.
grapple's not restrained.
No.
Dang it. How do you restrain somebody? Wrap them in vines?
You take the
Restrain action.
the grappler feat, and then you could take an action to pin them, which restrains them. I think.
Right.
I don't know. That might be wrong. It's
The grappler feat
fine.
is one of the things that was actually, they admitted they screwed up.
What do you mean?
There is a mechanic in there. I can't remember. It was like, the size larger actually doesn't work anymore because they clarified it earlier in the book. But the feat itself was from a previous version of grapple mechanics. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, ignore that bullet point. Sorry, guys.
Oh, did they fix it in any errata?
No, not really.
Don't
Take grapple.
Okay.
Never grapple anything, honestly.
Yeah. Also, it's restraint is just a disadvantage on dex saving throws.
Disadvantage.
Yeah. Isn't
Okay.
there something that's an auto fail?
Paralyzed.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're
Okay, that's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unconscious.
Well,
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. Paralyze automatically fails strength and dex saves, which makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So overpowered.
Paralyze, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it also has 40 speed, which is just great for running circles around your PCs.
Right.
I mean, overall, this thing is really pretty tough. 85 HP is pretty good.
10
Yeah.
feet reach. I remember
Yes.
it because it is attacking with its bizarre shoulder tentacles.
Yeah, which I really hate the fact that it doesn't even have a claw attack. Just because why would you not add that in? Like, give it
Right.
the option. It either makes 2 claw attacks or 2 tentacle attacks. That just seems like a total oversight.
It is a little weird.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a couple things missing, that, in my opinion. And one, that claw, bite, and I think climb speed.
Yeah, where's the climb speed? This thing has
Yeah.
talons. It's climbing up trees if it wants to. Heck, it can just grab its tentacles and just wrap them around a tree and just pull itself
Swing
up.
through it.
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, basically a tiger swinging through while clawing people.
It's amazing. It's deadly. I like the fact that as a big bad evil guy's companion, just throwing in one of these at a level 8 party. I don't know. A lot of times the minions just feel like cannon fodder. This would
Right.
be like an actual pain in the ass to fight and a good,
Yeah.
easy thing to throw in there.
Yeah. I mean, it has 85 hit points, which is not low.
Right.
So even at higher levels, if you're about like 10 to 15 and an appropriately challenged big bad evil guy has 2 or 3 of these things,
You're gonna
It's-
either
yeah, it's
use
gonna be
a-
an issue.
You're gonna use a lot of resources taking it down because either
Yeah.
you're gonna use spell slots to paralyze it so you can actually hit it, or you're gonna waste spell slots throwing AOE's at it that don't really do much.
yeah,
And
or just a bunch of attacks to land a hit. Yeah.
exactly. It's just it is a resource draining monster.
Yes.
and for that I really like it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna walk in this and just have a round of combat and be like, well, that was fun.
Right. Yeah. An idea of how to use it beyond that. So there's the kind of the two obvious. A random encounter. You roll it up. You get attacked by them walking through the woods.
Yeah, sure.
And then the big bad evil guy's minion.
Mm-hmm.
Still well traveling. You could kind of use it to, over like a course of a few days, to add paranoia and just a real intensity to travel, where you're being stalked by a group of these. Possibly more than you could handle, but they're also being cautious because they're intelligent enough to know that you might hurt them as well, and ideally they will be able to take one of you without any of them getting hurt.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, so there's this constant thing going on. They're the perfect thing for that, to stalk your party over 3-4 days in the spooky woods or whatever.
I think it'd be a really good way to just kill random NPCs too. Like if you're traveling with a caravan, and then somebody goes off to the bathroom and you just hear a scream and just disappears.
The bathroom in the spooky forest.
It doesn't have to be in the spooky forest. It can be a regular forest. They don't.
The regular forest has regular rest stops.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get Funyuns from the vending machine. Does anybody want anything?
He
Oh,
means
no,
walk
Displacer
away
makes-
from the party for decency's sake. Go behind
Yes.
a tree.
Yes. Regardless of where they're going and why they're
Yeah.
leaving, just somebody gets split up and that's the first attack. And now it's like, hey, where did John go?
Yeah,
You know, or-
and the Displacer Beast is perfect. Where that's their stated hunting tactics.
Exactly.
They'll get a kill, they'll drag them off and eat them in safety.
Right. And
And
so then
using their tentacles to do so.
gross. It's just weird. It's like that's what I think is so weird about it. Again, going back to it not having like the claw attack or the bite attack. It's the fact that it has like 6 different ways to kill you because it has 6 arms. But it still is just like, tentacles. Bah.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that you might not notice first look. It does have the bug thing going on with middle arms.
Yeah.
So, cats would probably be a lot creepier if they had 6 arms.
I don't know if we'd like them as much.
No, they kind of would remind me of bugs.
Yeah.
Furry bugs
Mm-hmm.
who bite.
Squish them. But
Don't squish cats.
Don't
kids.
squish cats.
So
Nope.
they have 6 arms, man. That thing can come at you from any angle.
But then they have 6 little paws, and little cat paws are
Oh
adorable.
my god, they'd be kneading you like.
Aw.
Oh, that's adorable.
Just quad meat. Oh, man.
I could
But
get
yeah,
behind it.
I think that's really, it's a great way to make travel interesting without making it a bunch of different random encounters, just one specific thing you have to deal with. Every day you wake up and, I don't know, either at night, whatever, like everybody needs to group up and by the end of it or at some point, the Displacer beasts get extra courageous and make their final attack to try and get you.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah. That's the exact type of situation I would love to do. Maybe I'm a mean DM where it is more than the party can reasonably handle.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a solution. It's like, all right, they're intelligent. They want to win. This is what they're going to do. If the party does absolutely nothing except for fight them head on, it's going to be a TPK. I hope they get smart.
All right, Kevin. Let's discuss some smart strategies for being overrun with Displacer beasts in the night.
Running. Oh,
Yeah.
Running from predatory cats in their own turf.
yeah, they also have a speed of 40, which is, a specific combat thing. But yeah, okay. Well, what about like setup in the night? You have an
setup,
alarm spell up.
yeah.
That way you're
Traps,
a little bit more
your
aware
spells,
of it. Right,
things
right.
like that.
And also, this is coming from the guy who specifically set up like rituals in order to have a entire zone that your cleric casts to just be like, this is a kill zone. Anything that walks in here will die. Here's my.
We also
what was
had
it,
a week to
Spirit
plan for
Guardians?
this.
Magic
Spirit?
Circle.
Yeah.
Spirit Guardian. No, it was
Magic Circle and Spirit Guardians. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Spirit Guardians.
Guardian of Faith.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Guardian of Faith and Magic Circle together. So yeah, you're telling me that you couldn't prep something, and it depends on the level, of course.
Yeah, this
It depends
is
on the
not,
class.
all right. I'll give you this, Kevin. Like a party that does that kind of. I'm going to spend a week looking at every cleric spell, thinking about the previous week's encounter that we have to fight again with more enemies. It's like, yeah, no, I can prep for that.
Yeah. It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
blast.
With the ever recurring revenants.
It's going to be a sore point for a while. I'm just kidding. It was fun. It took a lot of thinking. We love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys do and thought about it because that really was a situation like I don't have an out for you guys. I hope you figure this out.
Which is, you have to be very careful with that as a
Do.
DM.
You
because
really
you can
do.
stack the deck to the point where there isn't an out. This is a very free-form game, but it also has numbers behind it. And it's like, all right, 94 Displacer Beasts descend upon your level 5 party. I hope you guys thought about this. Yes.
No, you're right. What I'm right with the revenants that multiplied and returned every night and all that. I did have ideas myself. Like, yeah, I'd probably, depending on how you played it, let that work and this work. But there wasn't like a solution. There was
Right.
not a story element that was going to happen and come in and save you guys.
correct. And that's fair. I think that's totally fine. As long as you have at least mapped it out a little bit that you're like, well, if they do this, I'll probably let that happen as long like that'll work, as
Yeah.
long as these events take place. Like you said, our solution to it all was revenants. Have we talked about revenants yet? It's come up so much because it was such a talking point for us.
No.
Okay, so revenants are driven by a hatred. This isn't the revenant monster of the week. Sorry, but it's turned into that. Driven by a hatred, revenge. Usually somebody who killed them. That's a big thing. So they were coming after this woman, and every day they were multiplying for other unrelated, unimportant reasons. So our solution was let her die, wait a couple days after casting Gentle Repose on her, and then revivifying her in the comfort of her own home. You let that pass because you're like, well, that works. But you said afterwards that the caveat was they need to like bring her back after a day, basically, because they checked every 24 hours to see if she was
The
alive.
revenants thing is if you kill them, they respawn 24 hours later and continue the hunt. So, and I couldn't find an official ruling on what happens if the target is killed and then resurrected. So my ruling on it was if 24 hours later, they will check if that person's alive. If they are, they come back. If not, then they're gone for good. And you guys only had Revivify, which is a 1-minute spell. So I thought, all right, I'll do that. And then you could kill her every night and then Revivify, but it's going to get expensive. But, that's one way to do it. And then Will had Gentle Repose.
Yep.
Yes.
Where it will preserve the body for 10 days and extend the time limit of any resurrection spell. So they were able to revivify her 10 days later. which solved that problem. That's not a solution I thought of. It was in the vicinity, but it's not what I thought of.
So sometimes, as long as you agree upon it with your players, it's okay to give really, really, really difficult scenarios as long as they're up to the challenge.
Yeah.
And they don't have counter spell.
And they I would
all these revenants were the spell casting variety, and I gave them counter spell. And they were 12th level casters, so they had a lot of it.
Kevin, you suck so much.
You guys did it though.
I know, but that was so.
It was a challenge. Yeah, you fought him head on a couple times, and you won. And then you found the solution around it, and so it was all good. Like clearly, I did not overtune it. You guys survived it. I did not have to cheat anything. I did not have to fudge dice rolls. I did not have to have someone swoop in and save you.
D&D 5.5, my personal edition, where counterspell is not a thing.
Counterspell's a rough one. It really is.
Counterspell should be a once per day ability for certain spellcasters. How about that?
I'd play that. I also hate Counterspell, but it's just for personal reasons. I don't know. Like it ruins fun. I cast this awesome spell. No, you don't. Oh, all right. Well, let me try again next turn. No, you don't. Oh, God damn it. Well, how many more of them are there? 4. Okay. Okay. Cool.
In regards to the having some sort of solution, if death is not a thing, like if it's not, and this was a life or death thing, so that's why I went into it having my own ideas of how it could be solved. But let's say it's having to break into somewhere and steal something, where if it doesn't happen, it's not like the party dies, there's just other consequences. That's the sort of thing I would throw at, and like, all right, here is all the security, this looks really tough, I don't know how I would do this, here you go guys, fix it. Just hit my microphone there, I'm sorry about that everyone. But so that's if death is on the line, I think the DM should have some solutions in mind, so it's not here's 100 Displacer beasts at level 3 party. If it's
Why didn't you figure it out, guys? Are you stupid?
If it's not, though, if it's you'll get a benefit for doing this, there'll be consequences for not, but the campaign will continue. I don't think there needs to be a predetermined solution at all.
I would agree. Yeah, I think that's fair.
It surprised me and be creative, or here's the consequences, and that's now part of the story, and we'll move on.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that was one of those scenarios, because I think the worst case scenario in that situation was the Revenants killed her. They weren't after anyone else. Honestly, none of us even got a little bit hurt during those fights. Yeah. And we were all totally fine. It was just, they were annoying, and it was really difficult to keep her alive, and it was worthless in the end. So...
Hey, man, I still loved Resident Evil 4, despite that mechanic being the entire fucking game.
Which part?
The escort?
Escort, yeah.
Wow, this game would be really easy if you weren't dying all the time, Ashley. But I think that's another thing. The Displacer Beast being big cats is a good way to kind of... you can make a move and you can really screw up your backline guys, your spellcasters, anybody who's got concentration. This is a very smart cat, so it's going to target weaker people. It's going to want to drag the wizard into the forest and get a nice meal. It's not going to be tanking the barbarian just for the sake of tanking the barbarian.
Right. Which is why, again, I think it'd be a really cool scenario to add some NPCs in, and maybe you let your party control them. And you go, here you go, you each get 2 NPCs on this caravan. They have fighting abilities. They're weaker than you, but they're useful. And the Displacer Beasts come and just like, bleh, murder everybody coming by. Ooh, there's rumors of Displacer Beasts in the forest. We need help getting through it, so we'll pay you 50 gold for each person who gets through the forest with you. Great, perfect. There's a setup. Your bodyguards.
Yeah. Oh, I love the sociopathy. It's like, oh, yeah.
You're
Each
worth
one
50.
of these meat bags is 50 gold. Oh, that guy's head got ripped off. My 50 gold.
No. Of course not. That's a little extreme. But
no, but it's how we do
sheep.
approach it.
We did that. You did that with it was like a homebrewed quest you did in Storm King's Thunder
with sheep.
We literally that's how you get around the morality of it.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Just bring sheep through the forest.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't Displacer Beast; it was wolves. But
right, I think that'd be a lot harder keeping a Displacer Beast away from a sheep. But
then a commoner.
No, not a commoner. I'm saying somebody who has fighting abilities, but we're like a really weak one. Like they have the bandit statistics.
Could take a hit or two.
Right.
Yeah. Sheep is just dead.
But that way you can just see, like, the first night they come in and just like murder somebody and then just drag them off. Yeah, and it's like, oh God, this is going to happen again tomorrow night, isn't it? And then it happens again tomorrow night. And, gives you time to prepare. I like that idea of it. And also gives you I don't know. To get on that again, I feel like there's not enough times to prepare for combat in D&D, and I really like what can come out of it when you do. Like being able to ritual cast before a combat. It's like you get all these awesome ritual spells that you're like, I'm never going to use that in any scenario.
Yeah, because
I
the
need
general
to know.
flavor is I'm sprinting through a dungeon I've never seen, fighting things I've never heard of. And yeah, when you do have a setup encounter, I think that is one of the most underutilized things in D&D.
Yeah.
The other way around it is having some sort of scouting, like Arcane Eye or Magic Eye, whatever it's called. Having a really stealthy rogue go ahead and using a familiar to scout ahead. That can get you there, but that's usually not fun for the whole table because it's a lot of downtime. Whoever is controlling the familiar or the Arcane Eye or whatever is getting to go through and scout and hear where the rest of the table just sits there. It really, really slows things down.
Right.
I notice we don't do it. Like we regularly have characters who could pull stuff like that off, and we just don't do it.
It's been done. I remember you guys were going through a dungeon and somebody had Arcane Eye and threw it around, and it was fine. It ruined some traps I had, which, that just happens. I actually didn't know that you had Arcane Eye. I remember that.
That was a warlock.
It was a
and
warlock.
You can't learn that spell, but you can get it like unlimitedly if you pick the right invocation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or you have the Pact of the Chain, and you have the Quasit Familiar, who's invisible, morphed into a bat.
Right.
I think you use that a lot.
Yeah,
too,
I use that a lot.
Right.
Until then, our previous DM had it killed by a roper.
Oh,
He killed it with multiple things.
times. Yeah,
because
which
he was
needs
sick
to
of me
happen.
running.
Yeah, it
I
needs
get
to
it.
happen.
But I think there is kind of an aversion to the rogue goes off and sneaks through and finds out what's ahead of us, because it does A, split the party. B, it's a little boring, and C, I think a lot of DMs have a problem with. They have this kind of like arrogance, like you don't get to know.
Right.
This has to be a surprise. That's fun for my party. And it's not always fun for the party to be surprised by shit all the time.
Yeah, I think just talking about this, it hasn't come up much recently for me, but I can definitely see scenarios where you just kind of let somebody do that. They scout ahead and they get a good stealth check, so the things don't notice them, and maybe they see, oh, hey, there's stuff up ahead. They run back to their party and they go, hey, there's 15 goblins up ahead. Start casting your ritual spell right now. Once it's ready, I'm gonna go lead them here. I've got this trap set. Like that's fun as a PC. You get to set a trap for them and kind of turn the tables a little bit. And I would love if that came up more often, but it just doesn't in our stuff. It definitely can. We also just, in our current party, we don't have anybody who I would think is a trapper of any sorts. We don't have like anyone who
A cleric somewhat,
Yeah.
as we learned with that Revenant thing.
Right.
And then
But
Paladin, no.
Nope.
Well, we have a Wizard if she had the right spells learned and prepared. There's plenty of stuff like that, but
Oh man, I know what's going on. I'm going to learn this. Oh wait, I can't do. She has a spell book that she needs to learn, but we keep forgetting to mention that in our.
No,
downtime.
it just came up.
copy
She
the
just
spells.
learned-
Yeah,
she just learned a couple of them. There just is. I mean, there's good ones, but like
Did she get fly yet?
doesn't have access to that. Has to level up.
Everybody, every character should have fly. D&D 5.1.
Identical,
flies.
but everyone has fly.
Wait, but you can make 5 creatures fly. I thought with fly.
You can.
Okay, so why does
If you
everyone need
upcast
fly?
Every
Oh, if you
single
upcast it?
creature in the realm has fly.
So it's just like that's cool,
It's
man.
like Waterworld, but everybody's
in the air.
It's
Okay.
air world.
Okay. Do they still smoke cigarettes?
Yes, they smoke cigarettes in the clouds. All right, back to the Displacer
Yeah,
piece
we
for
got way
one
off.
final thing. I would, looking at this, there is a lot to modify. I've already said that I'd put a climb speed on there. The final thing I'd add is some kind of drag, grapple, spooky thing. And just like you were saying, oh,
Pounce
man,
attack.
John got dragged off in the forest. There's no mechanic there. But if he got like a big tentacle to the chest and got ripped into the trees, that'd be kind of cool, right?
Oh wow!
like
They
that.
could just like sit in the trees and just like just like pull
Yes,
them up.
Yeah.
but not in the current incarnation.
Yeah, how
you
would
have to add that.
How would you do that? I mean, that'd just be
There's like
something-
19 monsters that have the ability to
Roper
like,
would be a good
tentacle.
one to- yeah,
you
pull
steal
that
the
from.
roper from it.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool way to do it. I mean, it has piercing damage. Like it looks like its tentacle has teeth on it.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly set up. Honestly, this is a very, very modifiable monster.
Yeah, I think I don't think they've added anything, but this is the kind of thing where it should not be hard to make a very balanced, quote unquote, alpha displacer.
I was just thinking that too. Yeah, that'd be great. You just up its health a little bit and add in some of those fun abilities, and it's going to town. That's great.
And something to control other displacer beasts. You see that a lot, like an ability if a displacer beast is within eyesight, they could allow them to use their reaction immediately to make a melee attack or tentacle attack, stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like it all. Cool. Let's fight some displacer beasts, guys. Like in real life.
Got a broom. This is one of those monsters I would love to have as a pet.
I'm sure you would. You seem like the type of guy to have a displacer beast as a pet. It would also just like, you would be the person who's like, no, he's fine. I'm in control of this. As he's just like opening up your fridge and eating steaks. And you're like, hey, those are mine. And he's like, grrr. That's it.
Yours. That's
cool.
Asshole.
That's all right.
Did you steal my credit card to buy steaks again? I didn't buy those steaks.
You just see him in line.
You don't have a job.
He's in line at Heinen's just pulling stuff off with his tentacles. Pushing the cart.
One can of Pringles. One!
Oh man, his tentacles are too big to fit in the Pringle can.
Just rips it in half. It works. The patrician way to eat Pringles, for the record, is to split it down the middle with a razor and eat them like out of it like a fine cheese and cracker.
That seems like a solid place to stop.
Yeah. So we screwed up. We never said who. This was a
Displacer
fan.
Beast.
Yeah, this was a fan suggestion.
This week's monster of the week was brought to you by T Hood Rippin'. Yep. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Eddie. Subscribe to our podcast.
Leave us a review.
Yeah, give us a review. Make this quick, Kevin. We can't. We don't have long. We already lost people. We're
We
losing them by the
just
side.
made a Google Plus. Turns out they're shutting that down in a month, so subscribe while you can.
Oh, that's where we're gonna give all of our extra juicy content. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
It's been great.
Next week on Monsters and Multi.
Join us next week as we discuss the Warlock Sorcerer multiclass and Hags Part 2.